Hey guys, and welcome on into the next NHL season preview show. Today we're going to be talking the final show. This is the final season preview show, and today we're going to be going all about talking about the Anaheim Ducks, looking at their additions and subtractions, upcoming free agents, possible lineup for opening night, team future bets, and player future bets. And to talk about the Anaheim Ducks, I brought in Kevin here, who is a Ducks fan, knows the team pretty well. Season ticket holder, right? So goes to a lot of Duck games. Kevin, give yourself a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll get on to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Terry. As you said, a Duck season holder since '93. So I've been through the ups and downs, seen the 2003 run, was fortunate enough to be there in 2007 when they won the Cup. Funny story about that is, so we started, family bought some two seats in '93. We were sitting literally at the very top row, the last row. 5 years later, we went down to the club level. 5 years after that, we went down to the lower level, and then my brother and I took over the count. Luckily enough, we're on the glass. Funny story when they won the cup in 2007. So after after the cup presentation, the family started coming on the ice. Teemu Solani's three boys, were playing on the ice, shooting pucks, picking up all the scraps, and the kids ended up giving, I think, Kunitz's stick and Solani's stick through the little photographer hole. So whoever has those sticks out there, I've been looking for them like for years and years and years. Whoever has those sticks, you're a badass. But yeah, so we've been a season ticket holder since '93, like I said. Played hockey my whole life. Over here, the highest level that I got to it's called Skaha AAA. Went to college at Northeastern. Wanted to try to walk onto the team. It's Division One, very very competitive. And funny enough, my freshman year was, I think, the first or second year Greg Cronin was their coach, which is the current Ducks coach. So yeah, just a lifelong hockey fan, live and breathe it. Not a handicapper, professional handicapper by any means, but follow your show, follow the Ice Guys. Shout out to Bobano and Alex. Shots on goal is like my thing. So I love betting shots on goal, and I'm just excited to talk some Ducks hockey with you this for this season and today.
Awesome. We're going to jump right into it here. We're going to start with additions and subtractions. And when you look at the list for a team that was in the position that the Ducks were last year, you would kind of think that they might do a little bit more here in the offseason. San Jose had two really long lists of additions and subtractions. But Anaheim here didn't really do too much in the offseason. So Jacob Silverberg retiring, um, I guess it was his time. Um, didn't really, he wasn't there for the cup win, was he?
What's that?
Was he there? Was he there for the cup win? Silverberg?
No.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, so he didn't unfortunately get to do any winning
He
here
had that
with the
third line
Ducks.
of Travis Moen, Sammy Paulson, and Rob Niedermeyer. So he would have been on like that. That would have been his role, kind of more a defensive
Yeah.
role. But that third line was money for us. Anyways,
Yeah, awesome. And then
shout out
a lot
Sylvie.
of these other a lot of these other guys here are kind of depth guys. Benoit Oliver Grew, Max Jones, Robert Haig, and Alex Stalock, former Wild player. He retired. Um, there was knowledge that he wanted to play that one more year, which he did, and then he retired last year. So really, when you look at it, a lot of these guys are more depth guys on this list. The Ducks didn't really lose any of their top players. Additions, again, more depth guys. Brian Dumoulin coming in to try to help improve the defense a bit. Robbie Fabry as well, brought over by trade. Jansen Harkins signing. And then Oscar Dansk, former goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights. Maybe wasn't expected to really have a lot of playing time with the Ducks. Maybe it was more expected for him to be in San Diego, but with the John Gibson injury, which is 3 to 6 weeks, I believe, Oscar
Yep.
yeah, Oscar Dance will most likely get an opportunity here, playing in some games as the backup. So overall, not a lot of change here. I would say that I think the Ducks slightly improved by adding uh, Brian Dumoulin and Robbie Fabry. I think it's a slight improvement over what they had last year, or what they lost in the subtraction list. So didn't get really a whole lot better. Didn't really get a whole lot worse, in my opinion. Kevin, what do you think here? Additions and subtractions for the Ducks.
I actually really like the additions. The biggest issue that I had with the team last season was they didn't have. As soon as Getzloff retired, I felt like the culture in the room, the accountability, just there was no. They kind of lost their identity, right? Like the Ducks for the longest times, the Ducks, the Kings, the Sharks. When you came out west and played the California teams, they could beat you anyway. They could beat you physically. They could score 5, 6 goals. They could shut you down 1-0. So when Getzloff retired, I felt like they kind of lost a lot of their identity. I'm in Newport Beach, which is about 20, 25 minutes from Anaheim. And I know a lot of the players live around this area. There's beautiful women, there's the beach, there's a lot of distractions. And with all the young, these young, I don't want to call them stars yet, but this young talented group, I felt like they needed some more leadership. So I love the addition of Dumoulin. I think he's a little bit past his prime, but he is a long dude. I don't want to say like he's a big dude, but he doesn't play that physical, but he's long, right? Robbie Fabry, I think, is a great addition if he can stay healthy. I know he had some injury issues in Detroit last season, but I think he could play second power play. He could put up, if he's, like I said, if he stays healthy, he could put up 20 goals, be a leader in the locker room. Dansk, as you said, had a pretty good season when he was able to get in the net in Vegas. He just has to realize that he's going to probably see anywhere from 40 to 50 shots a night if the trends continue from last season, right? You know, Gibby's probably going to be out, I would say 6 months and a half. So that's putting a lot of workload on Lucas Stostal. So I like the additions. I really do. Harkins, another depth player. From what I remember, he's got good speed. He's not afraid to get into the corners. And yeah, so I like the additions. Like you said, not much. I wish they did a little bit more, but I can't complain of the 4 additions that the Ducks or Mr. Verbeek, the ball of hate, made.
Awesome. We'll move on along to the next segment, and I'll let you go first here for this one. Upcoming free agents. So there are quite a few names in this list. Some restricted free agents, some unrestricted free agents. What are your thoughts here on this list? Who do you think the Ducks should be focusing on re-signing the most of the guys on this list?
Definitely, it would have to be, if I had to rank them, it would definitely be Mason McTavish, one. I think he's the future captain of the Ducks. I think he plays the style of hockey that Verbeek played in the past and that he kind of wants to build his teams with. I'm glad that they didn't name. Well, I don't have any issues with Gudas being named captain, but I kind of wish they held off maybe another year or two. A lot of people wanted Terry. A lot of people said Cam Fowler is the next captain, but I think he's on the trading block. A lot of people said Zegras, but I don't think he has leadership qualities. I think McTavish is the guy. I think he has the passion. He plays the game the right way. He has a lot of potential. He just needs a little bit of more experience, and he needs to play in a top 6 role consistently. And I think he's going to get there. But definitely him. I would say number 2 is Frankie Vetrano. I think he's one of the more underrated shooters. Like I said, I'm a shots on goal better. The one thing that really pissed me off about the Ducks last season, and we were talking before this, is they kind of play like They play like the Leafs a little bit. They play like the Leafs in the playoffs. So what I mean by that is they play very perimeter. They play very cute. They want to pass. They want to pass the puck around. They I want to say the shots on goal against for them was 30th out of 32 teams. So they had. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they were 30th in shots on goal. They don't shoot the puck. Frank Vetrano is the only guy that's not scared to shoot the puck. So he would definitely be a guy that I hope they re-signed. Brett Leeson was another dude. He's a 6'2", 6'3" player, right-hand shot that has good speed. Very underrated. He scored towards the end of the season. He scored a bunch of goals because I think he had more of a role. So he would be probably 3. And then obviously Dostal is the goalie of the future. You know, I love Gibby, but I would love to see him win a cup or go make a run. So if he gets traded, you know, mid-season or in the off season, Dostal's the guy. So Mason McTavish, Frankie V, Leeson, and Lukash for sure.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to take the easy way out and say all the RFAs because this Anaheim Ducks team, you want to keep these young guys around. So obviously, Lucas Dostal, I think Mason McTavish, Lucas Dostal, I think those are the top two guys that I would be focusing on re-signing. Frank Vetrano, I think, is interesting because if this Ducks team finishes kind of where they were last year, and that's a bottom 5 team in the league, I can see them moving on from Frank Vetrano. He's going to get you something at the trade deadline. He is obviously an unrestricted free agent. So I could see them moving on from him, honestly, unless the Ducks have a good season, then maybe they probably keep him around. But I think it's the RFAs that the Ducks most.
Well,
Uh,
Lundstrom's an interesting dude. He's got a lot of potential, but I just he has a lot of playing time. I don't see anything special about him. I think he's a very cerebral player. He's a good two-way player, but if you're asking me, with the talent we have, like I want a combination of young skill, the Zegrases, the Terrys, the McTavishes, mixed with some veteran players. And
yeah,
Lundstrom, I feel like we could actually get just as much if we traded him as we could as for Frank for Toronto. He's got a lot of hype behind him, but I don't know if people know of him because he's kind of like the third tier with our younger stars. But like I said, he's a very good two-way player, cerebral. He's just, I don't know, it's kind of soft in my opinion. And for what they projected him to be, I don't see it yet. That's just my opinion.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't expect an 8-year deal or anything for him. I think McTavish is going to get a long-term deal. I think it's smart. You
Yeah.
sign him to an 8-year deal extension. You get it. You get him signed long term, so he's there. You don't have
I
to
think he's
worry
a good
about it.
captain. I think he embodies what Ducks hockey used to be, and I just like the style of play. Man, he is injury prone, but he has the passion. He has the skill. I think he has the leadership qualities. He's not afraid to speak his mind. You know, like everyone wanted Cam Fowler to be captain, but he's so quiet. I don't feel like he's a leader. Same with Troy Terry.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just different players. But I definitely think McTavish is on the top of the list.
awesome. We're going to move on to the next segment here, which is possible lineup for opening night. So, of course, John Gibson is down there on the bottom with a different shade of red. He's injured. So, he won't be making the starting night lineup. Lucas Nostal will be the starter. Oscar Dansk will be the backup. And a lot of people might look at the goaltenders and think that Anaheim has that might be one of their weak points, and it was is with goalies. But Lucas Dostal is a guy that has a ton of potential,
Yes, sir.
and he really played well last year, considering the defense in front of him. I think he had a great season, and I think it's only going to get better for him. So I don't have as many question marks with the goalies
I think
for
it's
the
actually
Ducks.
one of our stronger points, to be honest with you. And a lot of people give Gibby a lot of crap. I still think, in my opinion, if he's healthy, I think he's a top 10 goalie in the league. And that's people don't see how bad our defense are. We gave up the number one most penalties last season. The dude sees 50 plus 45 to 50. I remember Toronto came to town because last season because I cashed out on I maxed all the shots on goal. I think there was like 65 shots on goal. They went to overtime. Gibby, to me, if he's healthy with a good defense, he's still a top 10 goalie in the league, in my opinion. So I think our goalies is the strongest, stronger than the forwards, to be honest with you.
Okay. Defenseman Cam Fowler, he's been there forever. Um,
Nah.
good defensive guy there. Pavel Mintikov,
Yep.
this guy's got a lot of talent
Good.
and a lot of potential.
Good.
I'm really interested to see how he does this year. Olin Zellweger, again,
Good.
another guy with a ton of potential. When I was doing fantasy hockey leagues a year or two ago, when I was really into it, I was drafting Zellweger
Smart
on a
man.
lot of my teams because he's a very top high rated prospect. Even getting him in the second round, it's kind
And
of a
he will
steal
see
for
some
the
PP
Ducks.
time too. He will definitely see some power play time.
Awesome, Radko Gudas, the defensive guy that you need
The
in this
butcher.
lineup, block shots. Brian Dumoulin, Jackson Lacombe on the third pair there. Um, Dumoulin should be good. Jackson Lacombe, obviously a young guy, so there might be some growing pains with him. See how well he plays defensively. So the defensemen, there are some question marks there, but there's a lot of talent. And the main thing about this Ducks team is they have a lot of young guys with a lot of potential. Now, are those guys going to take that next step forward this year? Or if they don't, it's going to be another rough season for the Ducks. But they need these young guys to take that next step forward. And the thing with these young players is you never really know when it's going to happen. And if Mintikov and Leo Carlson and Gauthier and Troy Terry and McTavish and Zegras all take that next step forward. Troy Terry is kind of a bit older, so he's been doing fine. But if those young guys take that next step forward all at once, then the Ducks could be scary. So there's a high ceiling, but also a low floor, I think, for this Ducks team. And talking about the forward group, um, the Drysdale for Gauthier trade was, I think, a bit of a big surprise for a lot of people. I don't know if they were really expecting it to go down that way, but just another monster, high potential forward for the
Kid's a
Ducks.
stud.
Leo Carlson,
Kid's a stud.
yeah, Leo Carlson as well on that top line. Alex Killorn, veteran presence there. That second line uh, is dangerous. Has the potential to be extremely dangerous offensively. Zegras, McTavish, and Terry. Um, you really like Frank Vetrano? He's there in that third line. So when the top defenses come in to face the Ducks, they're going to be focusing on that top line with those young guys. They're going to be focusing on that second line, which is extremely strong. But that third line might get some opportunities against some weaker defensive opponents,
Mm-hmm.
which I think will only help Frankfurt Toronto. Robbie Fabry, a good fast guy to play on that line. Ryan Strome, a good defensive guy. Then you've got the fourth line, Ross Johnston, a pain to play against. Nobody wants to play against that guy, which is exactly the type of player you need in the fourth line. Brett Leeson, Isaac Lundestrom, maybe not maybe more suited to be third line guys potentially, maybe not as physical as Ross Johnston. But there's some other guys, Jansen Harkins, Brock McGinn. There are some other options for the Ducks. So to recap, forward group is very, very high ceiling. Will they hit it this year? I'm just not sure. Defense, again, two really good prospects. Well, Lacombe, so three good prospects there. Will they take the next step forward? A lot of question marks with this Ducks lineup, but they could be extremely good if they all hit their ceilings. Kevin, what do you think here about the possible lineup for the Ducks?
Um, I have mixed feelings about the lines as they're constructed here. Um, I love Killorn. I love the addition when he came last season. The injuries to him last season kind of sucked, but I'm telling you, I think Toronto needs to play with a top six role. If you switch Killorn with Toronto, you have. So I think Cutter, Gauthier, and Leo Carlson studs. I think they're the future of the Ducks. Leo is so cerebral. I was listening to, I think it was either Spittin' Chicklets or Missing Curfew, and they said last season that Leo kept his Swedish cell phone, and so when he left his house, he didn't have data, so he couldn't talk to anybody. He couldn't do anything unless he had Wi-Fi, and I love that. He's just kind of an old school player. Hockey's everything to him. He doesn't care about surfing, or he doesn't care about Instagram. He doesn't care about all the other stuff that I feel like the other younger players are into. I think I don't have faith in the Ducks doing much better than they did last season. So why not just load up the top two lines and just see what they can do? I think if you had a third, like a shutdown third line of Fabry, Strome, and Killorn, all three veteran players, they can play heavy. The Pacific is still kind of heavy with Vegas, Edmonton, LA, still kind of a bigger division. I think you just let the kids just load up the top two lines and see what can happen. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you're not going to push for a playoff spot, what's the point of mismatching? Like, to be honest with you, Killorn on the top line, Cutter is not the fastest, and neither is Leo, but I feel like they play fast, right? They don't have blazing speed, but I think mentally they got quick hands and they play fast. Killorn, when I watched him last season, I know he was laboring and he was fighting through some injuries. He just looked a half step behind. And Cronin gave him power play one time. He gave him a lot of chances, but if they switched, in my opinion, if you put Frank on the top line, because you need a shooter, Leo's more of a disher right now, a guy that has been there before. I think it'd be a good top six, but other than that, yeah, I don't mind the third line, or sorry, the fourth line. I think Brett Leeson's very underrated. Like I said, Isaac Lindstrom's pretty cerebral. You need someone like Ross Johnston to patrol. I mean, these kids, they're gonna get beat up. And I don't know if you remember what happened to Troy Terry. It was probably 2 years ago in Arizona. He got his face caved in by Jay Beagle. Was it Jay Beagle? I mean, he broke his jaw. So you need somebody that's going to at least be in the lineup, that's going to patrol, right? The defensive pairings, we haven't got to the defensive pairings yet. But yeah, so the forward grouping, I would just say put Frank in the top line, switch Killorn to the third, have a good shutdown. And then the fourth line, they could hopefully throw some hits and make the Ducks hockey exciting again.
Awesome. Yeah, I broke down the goalies and defense. Anything else you want to say about the defense before we move on, or?
Zellweger, Zellweger is going to be a stud. Not much more to add, but yeah, I think Zellweger is a guy. It's a good pickup on your fantasy. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity. Kind of undersized, but that's the defenseman. That's the game this day and age. But a very good skater, not afraid to make plays. underrated shot, but not, you know, the thing with the Ducks that pisses me off is we don't have shooters. And it's like I said, everyone wants to just dish the puck. They want to play on the perimeter. I just feel like we need to put puck on net, simplify the game, and let these young kids, you know, their talent. Like I don't care to see any more Michigans. I don't care to see Zegras flip the puck to Petrano and bunt the puck into. You know what I mean? It's like you said, Terry's getting older now. Let's see a style of hockey that wins consistently and that could potentially win come May and June. So yeah, overall, I think the lines are good if you just switch out Killorn and Vetrano, and I think the defensive pairings are solid.
Awesome. All the lineups I make are all done by depth charts on
Yeah,
different NHL websites. So,
yeah,
of course, nothing is set in stone here. Still in the preseason, there can definitely be changes. So,
for sure.
nothing is set in stone here. We're going to go on to the next segment. We've got team future bets and then player future bets left. And when it comes to the Ducks future bets here, uh, I don't have anything. So the Ducks team total, or sorry, the win total is sorry, point total, sorry, is at 70 and a half this season. They had 59 last year. So that tells you all that you need to know. The books think that they're going to make that next step. So all those rookies, those young players that I've been talking about, the books do expect them to take a step forward. But as you can see with make playoffs at plus 1400, the books still think it's going to be a losing season. They think the Ducks will win some more games. For me, nothing really interests me on this page, even least points in the NHL, because I don't think the Ducks are going to finish with the worst record in the NHL. I did originally kind of lean with Calgary, but I think it's going to be Columbus, and
Yeah,
I know that's sad for Columbus, but I do think it's going to be a really tough season for them. This Ducks team, I don't think they finished last, but I just don't know about the point total 70 and a half. They'd
I'm going
have
on.
to go up by 11, sorry, 12 points from last year. So not sure that happens. But Kevin, what do you think here? Future bets for the Ducks.
I definitely don't like any of them on the screen, but I did do a little bit of digging. What about a Cutter Gauthier Calder?
We'll get to the player. We'll get to the player in the next one.
Okay,
This is just for the team bets. The
and
team
then
bets.
I was also another shout out to the Ice Guys. Sorry to keep plugging their show, Terry. I love your show too, but
Yeah, it's all good.
they mentioned a Dostal Vezina. I mean, it's plus 20,000. What I was looking at, uh, there's no way in hell he's going to win, obviously. But if he sees 40 on average, 45 shots a game, and if the books think that they're going to get 70 points, maybe make a playoff push, maybe somehow the team gels and stuff comes together. There's an injury to, I don't know who the favorite for the Vezina is, but you know, like a Vasilevsky gets injured again or whatever. I mean, for plus 20,000, I already put a couple bucks on that. But in terms of, I mean, I don't think they're going to hit 70 and a half points or yeah points to, in any of the bets. Obviously, on the screen are a long shot, so I would have to kindly disagree with all of them.
Hey, these are just the bets that I
But the
put the same
Ducks,
bets for each team. So
yeah,
each team we talk about, we go through all the bets. But yeah, of course, the Ducks are a playoff to make the playoffs is plus 1400. So that tells you what you need to know. The Bucks think it's still going to be another rough season for this Ducks team.
it's going to be a rough season for them.
Now we're going to look at player future bets, and Gauthier Calder's there at the bottom, and I'll let you touch on these after I quickly break down what each player had last year. I'll give my thoughts here. So McTavish, 19 goals last season in 64 games, 17 goals the season before that in 80 games. So he missed some games last year, uh, scored 2 more goals, but played in 16 fewer games. So the goal total came down a little bit for him last year.
Mhm.
Point total in 22-23, he had 43 points in 80 games. Last year, 42 points in 64 games.
Yep.
So um, looking at it here, his goal total is 23 and a half, and point total is 50 and a half. And if he is on that second line, playing um, with Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry, that makes me want to lean with the point total over. I think over 50 and a half, but haven't pulled the trigger there on that. Gauthier played in 1 game last year,
Assist.
but
Got him
got
that.
an assist.
Yes.
Got an
Got him that
assist. So he
three
was
shots
a
on
point
net.
per game player last year.
And he got 3 shots on net. I mean, and it was against Vegas. Not an easy team to play against in Vegas.
There we go. So 1 point, 1 game. Now the books have him at 22 and a half goals and 44 and a half points. If he is on that top line and he plays a full season, he's going to
He's
hit
hitting,
his point total
he's hitting
over.
that. Yeah,
He'll
he's
hit it.
hitting that.
But if he struggles, maybe he gets moved down to the second line or the third line, then he might not hit his point total. So there's still some question marks, obviously, with him, where he's going to play in the lineup, how he does in his first full NHL season. So there are some question marks there. Trevor Zegras, 31 games played last year, 15 points. Previous season, 65 points and 81 games played. 6 goals last year. The previous 2 seasons, he had 23. So the books have his goal total of 22 and a half. Assuming he can get to that 23 mark again. Point total is at 58 and a half. If he plays a full season like he did in 21-22 and 22-23, not a full season, 75 games, 81 games, but close enough to a full
Mhm.
season, he hit both his goal total and point total. So I can see him hitting both if he plays a full or close to full season. But with the injuries last year, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on taking him for his future bets here. Troy Terry, 54 points, 20 goals last year. The season before that, 61 points, 23 goals. And then 21-22, he had 37 goals and 67 points. So his goal total is at 23 and a half. So
So 3
kind
to
of looking at what he did
last season.
most recent years.
Yep.
Point total 57 and a half. Again, he's close to that last year. Didn't quite hit it. Frank Vetrano here. He had 37 goals last year
So that point
and
total's off, right?
60 points. Yes, I'm thinking that's Frank Vetrano goals.
Because if that's true, I'm smashing the hell out of that.
No, I did make a mistake with in the
He's,
New Jersey
if he
show.
stays healthy, there's no reason for him not to score 30 goals. I mean, easily 30 goals. So he had
Yeah,
so last season he played all 82 games. He had 37 goals, 23 assists, 60 points. I mean, and that's on a struggling team. That's what I'm saying. So he led the team in points, 37 goals because he shoots the puck. Terry has such a great shot. He doesn't want to shoot the puck. Zegras wants to play on the perimeter. I like Cutter Gauthier because he's not in the 1 game he played. He didn't look afraid to shoot the puck. This team just does not want to shoot the puck. And like, I may sound redundant because I'm a shots on goal better, but you got to put puck on net, especially this team where they want to play cute. They want to play on the perimeter. The power play was atrocious. Like they would literally do what the Leafs do in the playoffs. They would pass the puck for a minute and 20 seconds, and then they would get because I don't know what the coach or someone would yell, shoot the puck. And I don't want to be like that fan, shoot the puck, but they would get some shitty shot on that gets swallowed. Like right. Anyways, I don't want to harp on shooting the puck, but Vetrano smash over 24 and a half points.
It
It's got to
isn't
be
points. I
right?
just checked, and
What
yes,
is
it's
it, 60?
24 and a half goals. 24 and a
Okay.
half
Okay.
goals.
We'll smash that.
Which he hit last year with 37. The season before that, he had 22 in his first season with the Ducks. So he really had a good season last year. And I guess that's one of the good surprises from the Ducks last season: 37 goals, 60 points in 82 games played.
Yep.
But then my question is where is he going to be playing in the lineup?
Well, if he's on
I
that
do
third,
think, yeah, go ahead.
if he's on that third line role, it's going to be tough because if they're trying to give the younger kids more of power play one, as of right now, Cronin has him on power play two, which to me is blasphemous. Put him on power play one because he shoots the freaking. He's got a hammer. He's got a wrist
Yeah.
shot, he's got a snapper, he's got a slap shot. Put him on power play one. But you're right. If he's on the third line with Strome and I forget who you put on the third line, Strome
Toronto
and
or Fabry.
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 I think 24 and a half is right. Is sounds pretty accurate. 25 goals seems to
The
be
what Why I think he could hit it on that third line is, like I said earlier,
matchups.
is the defensive pairs and the
Yep.
defensive forwards. They're going to be focusing on those top two lines.
You're
They're
right,
going to
and
be
those are
focusing
two
on
other
the
veteran
top.
players. Strom's been around forever, and same with Fabry. So I agree with you, and I understand why Corona has put that third line together because if they get third pairing matchups, if they get power play two time, if he can play when they pull their goalie, because I know they're going to be down in most games, if he can play on a 6-on-5, he's going to notch. I think easily 30 goals. So I definitely like that bet.
Awesome. Cutter Gauthier Calder is plus 800.
Yes.
And honestly, for me, I've already done the other shows. This is the last show that we're doing. So uh, if Josh Doan is making the lineup for Utah, if he's going
Mm-hmm.
to be a full-time player with Utah, I love him. I believe it's plus 5,000. I absolutely love him at that price. And then
What about
I
Logan?
do think, yeah, Stankoven's a possibility, but my second choice would be Matt Mishkov in Philadelphia. Uh, he has really shown it. It's just preseason, but he's really shown it.
Michigan Michkov.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a really good season. So those are kind of who I'm looking at for Calder. But Gauthier's a plus 800. So the books do think he's going to have a really good season this year, and they think he's going to be in contention for it. So nothing wrong with taking that if you are interested. Kevin, future bets for the Ducks. What do you think here?
I love the gotcha Calder. I think if he can stay healthy and if Cronin is going to consistently play him with Carlson and Killorn or Vetrano, I think. I think he can smash 23 goals. I think he can smash 45 points. I'm very high on this kid. I think he's got the size, the style play to play in the Pacific Division. I just think though, if I don't know what Stankoven's the price on him, I would say I'm not too high on Mitchkov, but I think Stankoven what he did last year for Dallas in crunch time, right? He was playing pretty heavy minutes. I think he was in a top six role. So I like Stankoven, but I like Cutter's goal points and definitely for Calder. Um, I think that value for plus 800 is pretty. I think Cutter is a top three, top five for sure rookie. And for that price, it's obviously based off how, for lack of a better term, shit the Ducks are going to do this season. And maybe they're counting that he might get sent down, he might get injured. So the price probably reflects that. But I love that. I love that bet for the futures. Probably the next to Vetrano and McTavish's goals and points. I think that's the third best bet on the board over Zegras, over Terry. I called Terry low T Terry. No offense to the name. He's just. I feel like he's kind of soft and he's a very perimeter. He gives me Marner in the playoff vibes. He's got all the potential. No, 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 no. Don't shake your head. He's got all this
No, it's
potential.
never a good thing when you're saying that's the kind of that's why I shook my like it's like oh no because that's never
And I don't
Marner in the
want to be a
playoffs is
hater on
not a
Marner
good
because I think he's a great player. But if you, so like I said, I'm a shots on goal better. I love betting Willie and Austin Matthews shots on goals because I think they're just stud players. But I don't know if you watch a lot of Leafs games, but there was a point I want to say from like November to end of December, January, where Marner. I watched probably 75 out of 82 Leafs games. If I can't watch it live, I'll go back and watch it late at night. He couldn't make a tape to tape pass. I mean, the guy was, I don't know if he had some personal problems. I know he had a carjacking or something 2 summers ago, which could have affected his mental stuff. But he couldn't make a tape to tape pass. He was getting pushed off pucks. He was playing at the end of his stick. I mean, the dude has so much talent and potential, and he's a stud of a player. But when you show up one every 6 games, I'm like, what's going on here? And I feel like Terry, he'll have 1 or 2 good games, and then he'll disappear for 7 or 8. And it's like, brother, you're not 21 years old, 22 years old like the other kids. Where are you as in terms of being a leader and a guy that's going to set as an example for them? So Zegras, I don't know if he can stay healthy. I love the McTavish, Cutter Gauthier, and the Frankie V bets for future bets.
perfect. Anything else you want to say before we finish off the show?
No, it's been a great time finally getting to chat with you, and I wish I could be more positive on the Ducks because, like I said, I'm a lifelong fan of the team, and I do think they have a lot of potential. It's just they need a little bit more leadership. I feel like in the locker room, I feel like they need a little bit more structure in terms of Cronin, what he wants to do, especially special teams. We took the most penalties last year, which is baffling to me. It's not like we're a big, heavy team like we used to be. So how are we the most penalized team? I don't want to sit here and complain, but I go to every home game and I'm looking at these ticky-tack calls and I'm like, what the hell? Why is Zegras getting these hooking and holding penalties when he's a foul?
Don't get me started on the referees because
Yes,
I
but
could go on a huge rant.
they
Yeah.
were the most penalized team in the league. Hence why they saw so many shots on goal against, right? And hence why every single time I keep saying 45 shots. If you look at the stats last season, I mean, I made so much money betting against the Ducks on shots on goal because I knew they were going to give up at least 4 penalties a game, sometimes 6. And it's just a feeding frenzy for poor Gibby and poor Dostal. So yeah, I like I said, I wish I could be higher on the Ducks. I just think a lot of times I don't know what Cronin, what kind of system he wants to play, especially for special teams. They don't seem to have any structure, especially on the power play. I see these zone entries, and they want to pass the puck on the perimeter, like I said. The penalty kill, it's just like it's almost like let's just collapse and let our stud goalies do the work. So who knows? But I think 70.5 points for the Ducks is a very lofty goal. But I'm hoping. I'm a fan, and I'm hoping.
All right. Well, I think bright days are ahead. You might have another year or two of, but hey, if you get another top 5 pick again, you can never have too many top 5 draft picks.
For sure.
Uh, and then you want that veteran presence. Once the Ducks kind of show that they're getting there, I think management will go out and try to get that veteran presence. But while they're still kind of a bottom feeder team, I don't know if they're really going to go and get those type of guys
Well,
until the Ducks are ready. But
speaking of veteran presence, I think the word on the online or whatever is Fowler wants out and Gibby wants out. So those are the 2 longest standing Ducks players. If you're going to get rid of them, I hope they bring back some other veteran players and not continually feeding this young talent because, like I said, Fowler's not necessarily a leader, but he's been there. I mean, since we drafted him at 18. I don't know how many games he's got on the Ducks, but it's got to be up there with the Correa, Solanis, Getzlaf, Perry's. I mean, he's been here for a minute. And same with Gibby. Like I said, to me, Gibby's a stud. I think if New Jersey has Markstrom, but any team that's looking for a top 10 goalie, any contender that wants to sign Gibby, I think not only is he low maintenance, he's a gamer. He has a little bit of that John Quick in him where it's like if you get in his crease, he's going to throw a block in your face. He'll battle through injury. He's not going to be a complainer. I don't know if he's going to want to play in a Canadian market. No offense, but he's not a dude that's going to attract a lot of attention, need the spotlight. You know what I mean? He is, to me, he's my favorite Ducks player right now, and I would love to see him. If we can't make a run in a couple of years, like you said, I would love to see him go somewhere where he can actually have a chance because he's a stud, man. He's a stud.
All right. That's the Anaheim Ducks season preview show. One thing I forgot to mention, the logo. Absolutely love it. So that's one of
You
the
love it?
off-season changes. I absolutely, well, compared to what it was at before, I
Okay.
absolutely love it.
I love the logo. Do you like the home? Do you like the orange colors?
No, but
Thank you. Thank you.
the
It's
Ducks, they're never going to get rid of the orange.
it's too, but
I
it's
I myself would have loved to see the teal come back. But I like the logo. So I maybe the colors aren't there yet, but I like the logo change compared to what they had before.
logo's
And this is a much
legit. But they're trying to market this. We're in Orange County, so
yeah, yeah.
they're trying to market as Orange Country. I don't mind the logo at all. It's just to me, it's too much orange. It looks kind of collegey. It doesn't look professional. If they had black pants, if they had black helmets, black trim on their gloves, I think the contrast would be better. But it's too much orange. You look at the Kings, so the Kings revamped their logo. They have matte black helmets. I think those look absolutely sick. Like I said, I don't mind the logo. It's just the home jerseys with this orange country. It's too much. The white away is very clean. I really like the white and orange. Good contrast, but don't get me started on the logo because we go another 20 minutes. I'm
Okay.
just ripping the Ducks.
That is yeah, we'll end the show here. That's the Anaheim Ducks season preview show. Go give Kevin a follow on his Twitter. His Twitter description link is in the description below. Thanks for coming on, Kevin. It was a great show. And we will see you guys on NHL. No, I was going to say on the next season preview show, but this is it. This is the
You
last
saved the
one.
worst for last. No, 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 no. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. No, I'm kidding. But season preview shows are done. Regular season betting shows are right around the corner. So we will see you guys on those shows. NHL is almost back. Thanks for watching, guys.